Um, we'll talk more about Rojava. Here's the reality. The reality is that the permission given and the removal of U.S. presence is facilitating a mass slaughter conducted by a vicious Turkish regime. Rojava is not perfect. It is not a utopia. But it is a dynamic left-wing experiment, and it is a group of people that have fought enormously effectively against ISIS. We should oppose all imperialisms. Absolutely, the most powerful imperialism in the world today is the U.S. global order. This is a micro example where the greater harm is obviously the precipitous withdrawal. And we see it happening right now, which is sort of stunning. That people can still build justifications or fantasies about this. Now, obviously, Lindsey Graham and other people are shedding crocodile tears. They were never serious about safeguarding the Kurds. And it may well be that the only option left for the Kurds, and something that should have been supported years ago, is some type of strategic alliance with Assad. I mean, this is geopolitics. The Kurds had to rely on a hegemon to secure their safety. Maybe now they have to partner with a government and a leader who's engaged in multiple crimes against humanity. But right now, the Turks are engaging in crimes against humanity and destroying an experiment which we should and must have solidarity with, again, with no equivocating nonsense and simplistic one-dimensional thinking. And, yes, there's plenty of strange bedfellows. Sure, it's weird to have the same position as a Lindsey Graham for entirely different reasons. But I think it's weird that other people have apparently the same position as Tayyip Erdogan and Donald Trump for their own different reasons. This is Donald Trump today this was yesterday rather, expressing his profound contempt for the Kurdish people. And again, this is historical. The Kurds are multi-sector victims. They are the victim of internal hegemonic projects which have thwarted their autonomous will, most glaringly in Turkey, but also obviously in Iraq, where they were victims of genocidal actions by the Saddam government, all across that region. And now they have generated an autonomous space of leftist innovation, which is certainly not perfect, certainly has mistakes and blah, 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 blah. But I have never made a perfection the metric of anything, let alone global politics. And they're going to get routed and gutted unless something significantly changes. And this is the contempt that this disgusting, grotesque leader in the White House has for them, and everybody who's supporting this action is showing.
The Kurds are fighting for their land, just so you understand. They're fighting for their land. And as somebody wrote in a very, very powerful article today, they didn't help us in the Second World War. They didn't help us with Normandy, as an example. They mentioned names of different battles. They were there, but they're there to help us with their land, and that's a different thing. In addition to that, we have spent tremendous amounts of money on helping the Kurds in terms of ammunition, in terms of weapons, in terms of money, in terms of pay. With all of that.
Okay, so first we actually do have a minor fact check, which is not the main point, but I do want to do the minor fact check. Okay, setting aside the Kurds traveling across Eurasian landmass to volunteer for Normandy, I think we can ignore that one. Maybe Trump is confusing it with British colonial subjects, like enforced soldiers from India who fought on behalf of the British Empire. Maybe that's what he has in mind in his fizzle brain. But there actually was support for the Kurds towards a broader global effort against Hitler's Germany. What was that, Brendan?
They were part of the Iraq levies. They were a quarter of the fighting force, and which eventually was rolled into part of the British Royal Marine Commando. And they fought in Albania, Italy, and Greece.
Wow.
So not Normandy, checkmate.
So not Normandy, checkmate. So this bloated
In a certain
idiot,
sense.
this bloated, disgusting moron gets it wrong even by the same stupid, disingenuous metrics he's using. I think it's very interesting to watch actual, the way Trump gets played by people with actual savvy, like Erdogan. This and again, we'll keep spelling this out. This isn't a preventative war. This is about to happen, and we should deploy U.S. air power or troops. Those situations have led to catastrophic U.S. actions across the globe, so-called humanitarian intervention. But just in the same way that we need to pivot radically from a moralistic, one-dimensional airbrushing of U.S. hegemonic actions across the globe, we can still look at and deal with the world as it is and appreciate the historical irony that a U.S. troop presence was protecting, first of all, a historically repressed and genocided group by multiple Middle Eastern governments, Turkish and Arab. Then also recognize that, in fact, and that, by the way, should be sufficient. That should be sufficient. The same dynamic could apply to the Kurds of northern Iraq, who have much more, I would say, Emirati politics in some respects. But it also then happens to extend to the fact that they have a dynamic and important political innovation and experiment, which is the only recognizable left in that region, not nationalist, but left. And I'm on the left, so that's who I have solidarity with. I condemn this action. I think it's disgusting. I think it's horrifying. I think it is analogous, not the same, but it exists on a spectrum of the Israeli occupation and slaughters in Gaza, with the Modi regime's attacks in Kashmir, with what's happening in West Papua, and this broader sort of formalization of this type of brutality. Who wrote that piece, that brilliant piece that Donald Trump referenced?
A man by the name of Kurt Schlichter. Will Summer pointed this out. Schlichter wrote a column here. I'm not sure what the headline is, but this part is the relevant portion. It's also true that the Kurds would have fought ISIS anyway, since their psycho-caliphate was right next door. Let's be honest. The Kurds didn't show up for us at Normandy or Inchon or Kaysan or Kandahar. The Syrian Kurds allied with us in their homeland because we have a shared common interest in wiping out the head-lopping freak show that was ISIS. Moreover, not all Kurds are not equal. The PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, are a bunch of commie terrorists who have been fighting the Turks for a long time. Those Reds are no friends of ours.
Well, someone's getting their Turkish talking points. I mean, look, there's actually real the SDF is definitely connected to the PKK. There's no doubt about it. And has the PKK, not the SDF, but as separate operations, engaged in terrorist attacks historically in Turkey? Yes, absolutely. At the same time, do they represent a genuine aspiration for rights and autonomy? 100%. And if I can understand and think with some complexity about a group like the IRA, I certainly can about the PKK. Now, in addition to that, under the broader leadership, embracing the work of Murray Bookchin. So first of all, their demands and their suffering and their oppression, they're 100% right about. And anybody who would deny that is being chauvinist or insincere, delusional, or uninformed. And now, in the current political context, they have been a force of a dynamic, progressive experimentation. This is also another thing, though, that Kurt Schlichter apparently has on his record. Do we have this up? I don't even know who Kurt Schlichter is. I mean, obviously he's just some other grotesque idiot, but this is a photo. It's from CBS News. A Yemeni mother fought for 17 months to overcome the U.S. travel ban and visit her sick 2-year-old son. He died only days after she arrived. And Kurt Schlichter in the epitome of Trumpism, quote tweeted this story with, "I don't care." But, I guess my question's really, though, to a lot of people is that, frankly, your same reaction to the slaughter that's taking place now by Turkey? All right. There's no elegant transition, so we'll just get to it. We'll change the mood up a little bit. Sam's got some paid consumer